Tonight on Q2, locked away for life.
You're a delusional, pathetic, hypochondriac loser.
Family and friends pour out their anger and pain on the man who gruesomely killed 4 University of Idaho students, plus upping their games.
We unfortunately live in a world where it's probably going to get stolen.
Bike thefts are on the rise in Montana, and the thieves are now harder to beat. The MTN 10 o'clock news starts right now.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Well, good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. Yellowstone County will soon have a new commissioner. The 3 finalists, former PSC Commissioner Kirk Bushman, Charlie Loveridge, a former president of the Metro Park Advisory Board, and Chris White, who serves on the board for the Yellowstone Valley Electric Co-op. The candidates are vying for the seat of the late Commissioner John Oslin, who died last month in a plane crash. Our David J. catches up with the final 3.
Commissioners Mark Morris and Mike Waters interviewed the 3 candidates on Tuesday.
Very conservative. I look at everything on our budget lines.
You have to be involved in your local government.
There is a certain calling inside my belly that says you should give back.
The Yellowstone County Detention Facility has been a concern for residents, and dealing with creating an additional 500 beds could cost more than $200 million.
My guess is the county commissioners are going to be tasked with something in the next years, and it's probably some of the most important years that we have in this county coming up, and that is going to be looking at jail expansion.
That's a lot of money, and so I don't think the voters really have an appetite to vote a mill levy in that size. So if it's needed and warranted, that's got to be communicated to the voters.
Chris White said he was not available for an interview, but did address the jail issue with the commissioners.
The jail and the 72-hour holding facility is going to be a fantastic facility.
Yellowstone County commissioners also have a big responsibility overseeing Metro Park.
I really don't have any problems with making investments in Metro Park, but they do have to be prudent with the idea that they'd have a return that would benefit the people of the county.
What a great place for Billings. I mean, the economic impact is tremendous for the county.
While Metro Park did not come up at the interviews, White talked about budgets.
So as far as budgeting, that's something that I live and die by numbers every day of the week.
Whoever is chosen will serve for about a year and a half and will need to run for re-election in 2026.
If everything works out well, I'd be happy to run for re-election.
I'm set up to run that campaign next year.
And White addressed re-election last week when the Yellowstone County Republican Central Committee picked the candidates to recommend to the commissioners.
When it comes time for re-election, I'm in the face of the public every day. I see people all the time.
Next Tuesday, I envision that we will be taking a vote on filling this position.
You're 3, good men who are good candidates, and you're going to make our decision difficult, which is probably a good thing.
The process took a little more than an hour to interview the 3 candidates on Tuesday. Commissioners Morse and Waters will announce their pick next week at the Tuesday meeting. In Billings, David J., MTN News.
Tonight, a 5-year-old Wyoming boy is recovering after being shot in the stomach, and police say his 9-year-old brother pulled the trigger. Cody police confirmed that shooting happened yesterday and appears to be a case of negligent discharge, but the investigation is still underway. The young boy was rushed to the hospital by his mother and is expected to recover. Police say the family's cooperating fully. Tonight, an Idaho judge has sentenced Brian Kohberger to spend the rest of his life in prison. The sentencing came after hours of heart-wrenching statements from families and friends of 4 college students killed by Kohberger in 2022.
The foundation fell out of our world.
Today, we are here to finish what you started. Today, you've lost control.
He is a hollow vessel, something less than human. A body without empathy, without remorse. He chose destruction. He chose evil.
After those statements, the judge sentenced Kohberger to 4 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole, calling him a coward and saying it was time to end his 15 minutes of fame. Kohberger chose not to address the court and has never given a motive for ending those 4 young lives. By taking the plea deal earlier this month, he was spared the death penalty while forever waiving his right to appeal. Parts of eastern Montana are still reeling tonight after days of severe weather left damage behind for miles. The destruction from wind and hail was felt all the way from Terry to Roundup, with some of the hail drifts more than 8 inches deep. One rancher had his entire cornfield destroyed, while another man saw damage to his porch, deck, and roof. In that case, he believes it will cost more than $50,000 to fix. But are things finally calming down out there? With a first look at the weather, here's Chief Meteorologist Ed McIntosh.
It's been another active evening for thunderstorms. Especially notice that things were much quieter throughout the day. This is since 10 o'clock this morning across central and western Montana. Showers and thunderstorms have been stronger in southeastern Montana, eastern Wyoming, down into South Dakota. So as we get into the next couple of days, we'll see a little bit of a shift in the weather pattern. The temperatures will start to rise. It's pretty comfortable today, and we'll look for readings to return to the 80s to 90s as we start getting into even tomorrow afternoon. There's still a chance of rain, but it's limited pretty much to isolated thunderstorms. Some of those could be stronger tomorrow, especially in the eastern plains of Montana. And overall, things stay very consistent. We'll show you the 7-day forecast coming up in a few minutes.
The White House is unveiling a new plan to boost America's standing in the battle over the advancement of artificial intelligence. It comes as the fight continues on both sides over the release of the Epstein files. Erica Brown has more details from the White House.
The White House is rolling out a plan designed to expand AI infrastructure and investments in the U.S. and a race to stay ahead of China.
America is the country that started the AI race. And as President of the United States, I'm here today to declare that America is going to win it.
The AI Action Plan involves rolling back federal regulations put in place during the Biden administration, promoting the build-out of infrastructure, including data centers, and plans to export U.S. AI technology globally.
What we really need to be successful is a very simple phrase called common sense, and that begins with a common sense application of artificial and intellectual property rules. It's so important.
The Trump administration is also facing continued calls for the Department of Justice to release all documents related to the Jeffrey Epstein case. Wednesday, a federal judge denied a DOJ request to unseal grand jury transcripts from the investigation into Epstein.
I understand there are 2 other requests from the Department of Justice that are ongoing, but I'll let this president speak to whether he wants to see an appeal.
House Speaker Mike Johnson is sending lawmakers for an early summer recess rather than hold votes on releasing all of the Epstein documents.
No one in Congress is blocking Epstein documents. No one in Congress is doing that.
Johnson accused Democrats of engaging in a political charade, but many of the questions are coming from the right.
The American people want answers.
The House Oversight Committee passed a motion to subpoena Epstein's co-conspirator and convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell to appear for a deposition. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
Meanwhile, U.S. stocks set record highs today following a trade deal between the United States and Japan that was announced. The trade framework would lower proposed tariffs on Japanese imports to 15%. President Trump had originally said a 25% rate would have been levied on August 1st had a deal not been reached. All told, the S&P rose 49 points, adding 0.8% to its all-time high. The Dow jumped 507, and the Nasdaq gained more than 127. Stocks jumped even more in Tokyo, with the Nikkei rallying in a 3.5% climb. Indexes also rose across Asia and Europe following the announcement of the trade deals. More Montana families may now qualify for help feeding their kids, as Riverstone Health says now is the time to apply for WIC benefits. The program helps pregnant women, new moms, and kids under 5 get free nutrition support. New income guidelines just kicked in, meaning more people may be eligible. For example, a family of 4 can now make nearly $5,000 a month and still qualify. Riverstone says even if you think you don't qualify, it is worth checking. Montana ranks in the top 5 states of bike thefts per capita, according to an analysis by the FBI. In fact, over 1,200 bikes were stolen in the state in 2023. That's about 106 bike thefts per 100,000 people. And now these thieves are beginning to ratchet up their games, it appears. Our Matt Carmack spoke to 2 bike theft victims who are warning other bicycle owners to lock them up this summer.
Here in Montana, there's only about 5 months out of the year to take a comfortable bike ride.
Yeah, this summer I would always I'd always be outside with the bike, just riding it around.
But for one Billings 12-year-old, he's no longer able to enjoy summer bike rides with his friends.
I was kind of disappointed in myself because I wasn't listening to my dad, because he kept on telling me, he was like, lock it up, and I just never did.
At the end of June, Jackson Sorensen's bike was stolen outside of Shields after he forgot to lock it up. Billings police identified the thieves as these 3 boys.
They got a camera of 3 kids coming out and just deciding that he didn't deserve that bike anymore, jumping on it and made it theirs.
Jackson's dad, Peter, says after 50 years of living in the city, these bike thefts seem to be more and more rampant.
It feels like when I was a kid, you'd have a kid go steal a bike. Now it feels today like you have people that are specifically going to make a living stealing.
And sometimes having a lock isn't even enough. Last summer, one Billings man had his electric bike stolen after a thief likely used a pair of bolt cutters like these to break through the locking mechanism.
Lo and behold, it was gone, chain pieces around the bike rack itself.
Last summer, Ian McLean's bike was stolen from this Albertsons where he used to work. Not only was his e-bike around $1,700, but it was also his main mode of transportation.
It was literally taking me to and from work. I did take the bus after that, but it was better to have some of that air therapy, I should say.
Ian did everything to the books, even having 2 different locking mechanisms. He says the only thing he might have done differently is to make sure that the bike rack faces a camera and is also bolted into the ground.
It's just nice to see when it's actually bolted into the ground and it's secure.
Ian and the Sorensens are still hopeful the bikes will be found. If you have any information about the bikes, please contact the Billings Community Service Department.
Just bring back the bike. Don't care about everything else. Just bring back the bike.
In Billings, Matt Carmack, MTN News.
Crazy Mountain Ranch is asking Big Timber for up to 100,000 gallons of treated water a day to irrigate a new golf course, raising fresh concerns about water rights in the community. It comes after the Montana DNRC filed a lawsuit against the ranch, saying it has no valid water rights to irrigate. The ranch, located in Clyde Park, is owned by Lone Mountain Land Company, a subsidiary of Cross Harbor Capital, which owns the Yellowstone Club. City leaders say the short-term sale could bring in revenue, and Big Timber has sold bulk water for decades.